683 show.
Well,
Do you want it from the
Rozzy, you
start?
need to go in there. Rozzy, go in there. Go on, get it, chicken. Go, chicken.
Okay,
good idea.
Go.
your thing. This is your thing.
Alright.
You roll this.
Go.
Toki, where are you?
Anything?
Run!
Why is he running? There shouldn't be anything scary in there.
I don't know.
Something.
Hello, boys.
Nope.
Scary!
Hi, honey.
Welcome everyone to this week on the 6873 show. Today we are covering some creepy stories, some creepy pastas, and some other little bits of macabre nature. I think it's going to be fun. So anyway, let's get this show started. My name is Ren. The other hosts of the show, of course, are
Ion and this beautiful woman next to me.
I am Toki, and right next to me,
I'm Rossi. We also have next to me, joining us,
Your favorite witch, Anubis, and here.
Is everybody's new favorite fish stick healed?
so today we are going to cover 3 stories, each more macabre than the other. We are kind of split into teams, so the teams will be Ren, Ion, Rozzy, and I, and of course Anubis and Healed. And I don't know, who wants to start out with their story?
Ladies first.
well, you had an interesting story about a kind of pop culture that's recently happened.
Yes, indeed. And I do apologize if you can hear paper. I did my homework this time. So,
Overachiever.
most
the
of
dog
us
with
know
me, yeah.
Slender Man. I swear to God, you're going to be my
No.
death someday, or I'm going to be theirs. So, everybody knows Slender Man. And for those who doesn't, he's a fictional supernatural creature that originated as a creepypasta internet meme created by Something Awful Forum user Eric Knudsen, also known as Victor Surge. He is described as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless head and face, wearing a black suit. Mostly featured in stalking, kidnapping, should we say that?
Abduction.
Or traumatizing people.
Prize
Yes,
adoptions.
exactly. Yes, particularly children. Now, unfortunately, as he is fictionary, the story that I'm about to share is not. So, 3 kids is involved in this, 12 years old, and Peyton and Morgan, they were best friends, but then Anissa came around. She got added to the group. Peyton was not so much a fan of Anissa, but Morgan took a lot of interest in her, so she went along with them. And then this whole talk about Slender Man came into it, which Morgan actually believed was true. Believe it or not, but okay, you're 12, you can believe a lot. All 3 of them, 12 years old, had a sleepover on May 31st, 2014. Morgan and Anissa held Peyton down and stabbed her 19 times. When questioned later by the police why they did it, they claimed that it was the the first step to becoming proxies for Slender Man. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Kids.
Both girls stated,
Yes.
but still though, both girls stated that they were afraid of Slender Man, who would kill their families if they didn't commit murder. I mean, Jesus Christ. After the two girls left the
That's
scene,
why there's an age limit on things for a reason.
Peyton, who at that point was literally left in the woods, crawled her way out of the woods to a roadway where a passing cyclist found her and called 911. Now, amazingly, she survived the 19 stab wounds. And I mean, she is a clever and yeah. So both Morgan and Anissa have been diagnosed with mental illness, but have also been charged as adults, facing up to 56 years in prison. But one of the girls reportedly said Slender Man watches her, he can read minds, and could teleport. That's what she said under the interview. On August 1st, 2014, she was found incompetent to stand trial. On November 12th, 2014, a doctor judged that her condition had improved enough to stand trial. August 21st, 2017, one of the girls, who was at that time 15, pleaded to being a party to attempt second-degree murder. Excuse me, as I dramatically changed page. But claimed she was not responsible for her actions on grounds of insanity. She will spend at least 3 years in a mental hospital. Anissa, then 16, was sentenced to be hospitalized for 25 years, which will be until she's 37. Mind you, this happened in 2014. Eric Knudsen said that he was heartbroken by the tragedy and his heart goes out to the families involved. Morgan, who was the one who pleaded guilty, agreed to plead guilty to attempting to commit first-degree homicide to avoid jail. She was sentenced to 40 years in a mental hospital. And I've seen the interviews. She asked if she was regretful, and she literally said, I mean, I did it, so why live on being remorseful? That was
Jesus Christ.
See, that's the signs of a psychopath.
That's a bit cool.
Yeah, that's fucking.
I heard they had good padded rooms though.
Well, I will say, I know that 2020 she gave an interview actually. She has moved on forward. She do feel sorry for, I don't know which one of them, but she moved on. She hoped they will, and yeah. I mean, it's horrible, but thank God she survived to tell the tale, and hopefully make sure nobody else's suffer the same fate. Brave girl.
Oh
Really
God,
brave
19 times and she survived. God, that is. I think that's a miracle. That's a miracle that she survived.
Exactly. The cyclist actually asked her if she wanted water, and her only response was, I can't breathe that well. But she was awake the entire time. And the police said as closer they came, the more blood they could see. I mean, if that's not a fighter, I don't know what it is. I mean, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
12 years old.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just to clarify. Slenderman is fictive, okay?
Fictional.
Check it out. You can read all about it online.
Bit of modern.
I just wish I had his style.
A Slenderman. I mean, he is okay for a spook. He is well dressed.
Yes, he is.
I mean, yeah, okay. When he commits murders and stuff, I mean, he has to like put on, like bags or whatever, and keep that suit nice and pressed.
No kidding.
He's basically a spooky Agent 47.
Okay, no offense, but you know how he grabbed people? He got tentacles coming out from his back.
Oh, so he's a dude.
Yes, Slender Man. Did you hear Slender Woman? I swear to God, you're trying to keep a very, very horror story going and didn't.
Well, honey,
it's those earrings. They're blocking his ears.
Please stop.
You got to remember something. We love you.
Please stop.
We all love you.
Please stop. But from one story to another, let's go to the pair at the end here, Anubis and Yield. Please share your story with us.
The hell was that?
Well, that was the noise of the... Most victims would have ushered out when it was, as we all know...
Are you sure? Because it sounded like the poor hamster you just stuck up your butt.
I can see him coming out too. You need to clench your butt cheeks a little bit harder to get him back in.
Toki, I'm joining you. I'm joining you.
Did anyone else hear that squeak?
I did.
I kept my mouth shut. I am so sorry, but I kept my mouth shut.
I'm just gonna shut up. Y'all do what you need to do.
Let's do it
back
again.
to it.
So much of being a horror. I know we're gonna make fun, but geez.
Hey, we could use these for bloopers. Stick them on TikTok.
All
right, Heald, go ahead and continue where I'm going to do a splice right there. I'm going to keep a lot of it. So continue on with what you were doing.
We, everybody, have actually quite something interesting to talk about, because we all know about serial killers. You got Jack the Ripper, what's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald. What was the name the guy who tried to kill Reagan?
Ronald Reagan? I do not know.
Well, was it John Hinckley or something like that? He copied off Taxi Driver. But that's the key word, they copy. Me and Anubis are going to talk about a copycat killer.
Mm-hmm. And you might remember this name. Alberto Sada, a.k.a. the copycat Zodiac Killer. What do you know more?
I thought you was going to come out. Right. Also known as Eddie Sada, the serial killer modeled his crimes on the actions of the Zodiac Killer. Unlike his inspiration, however, Sada was caught after murdering 3 people and injuring 6 others during his reign of terror. Which unfortunately lasted from March 1990 to October 1993. Sorry. Sada was born in New York in 1969. The recluse was obsessed with guns and the Bible. But he did admire the Zodiac Killer. Oh yeah, he was a very keen admirer of the Zodiac Killer, especially the fact that the infamous individual was never caught.
I mean, that's very sneaky. That's very, very clever, and to never actually get
Oh yeah,
caught.
very, very, very.
We only know 2 people like that to never ever get caught by any of the authorities. But whilst he did
That's the
take
Zodiac
good,
Killer
keen
and Jack the
interest,
Ripper.
But while he did took a keen interest, the way he done it was very similar to the way the Zodiac Killer would do it himself.
Yeah.
He would send letters to the police where he wrote of a plot to kill 12 people based on their star signs, and then he signed the letters Zodiac, thinking that the police would think the Zodiac Killer is again walking among people and choosing his victims yet again. They would not
Yeah, the
have
police
thought that there'll
apparently
be
thought it
another
was a hoax at
copycat.
first. The police thought it was a hoax at first and probably received scores of crank letters each year, which can you really blame them? It's like someone writes in saying they're going to kill someone. I mean, like nowadays they will take it seriously, but back then they got so many letters and about 90% of them turned out to be hoaxes.
Yeah, but you can
There was nothing
see how
special or chilling
terrified
about
the
them
police would have
until.
been.
Oh, yeah. But there was nothing actually threatening or chilling about him until he made good on his promise.
And he did. He sure did.
Yep. His first crime occurred on March 8th, 1990, when he shot Mario Orozco, I hope I pronounced that name right, in the back. Fortunately for Orozco, a Scorpio, Seda was less efficient than the Zodiac Killer, so he survived. On March 29th, 1990, the copycat shot German Montenegro, a Gemini. But again, his victim survived the attack. Not a very good copycat.
Not a very good killer.
No, and
On
it
March
just gets
11th,
worse.
1990. Sorry.
And it just
Carry on.
gets worse on that. The third victim, which he dismissed off the list, by the name of Joseph Prock, who is a Taurus, was not so lucky. Shot in the back on May 31st, he died in a hospital 3 weeks later. He left a note near Prock's body, which featured a pie-shaped picture containing the star sign of the 3 victims, and no read Zodiac, time to die.
Okay, I don't like that how the Taurus actually dies. I'm Taurus.
Now,
I know, right? That's
fortunately
weird.
for us, he was captured. But aside with
Oh,
his
thank
third victim who died 3 weeks after he was attacked, he wasn't exactly as efficient as the original.
But he did get caught in the end, which was we all
Oh,
glad
yeah.
for that.
As
he
I
did
said,
get caught.
not as efficient.
And there was no more copycat killers after that. But even though he got caught, there was a silent period where he didn't continue after a while. I think he realized that because he was screwing up so much, he decided to reevaluate how he was going to do his marks, and then to make himself not as caught or as close, because I believe that the police were at that time hot on his heels, so to speak.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
really never captured the real one?
No, the
No.
real one
No,
never got
no,
caught,
no.
and he managed to do all 12.
Wasn't
All
it just
12
like
victims were found.
Yeah.
wasn't it almost like just a sick game with him? Like he would leave clues and just
Yes.
like literally
This is
He did
this is
it in such
actually
a
the damning
way,
part
he'd
as well.
leave cryptic clues, cryptic messages,
The-
and also he would leave puzzles in a sense so that the police would have to work out who the victim's next going to be, when's it going to take place.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they never
But when-
made anything like that. They couldn't
When he
do
was
it at
actually
the time.
captured, the would-be Zodiac was found guilty without parole. Guilty, hands down, no doubt about it, for the murders and attacks. And on June the 24th, 1998, he was sentenced to 232 years in prison. He is not seeing the light of day again.
Nope.
There's his corpse.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And not only that, at
He's
his
gonna die
trial
in
in
a raffle.
1998, he's going to die, and hopefully most people were gonna treat him a little lesson if they could. Seda was described
yeah.
as a 30-year-old high school dropout. So you could
Really?
assume how he looked like. He would look like a mess who had never got his life in order, and most probably his mind was
He'd
probably
be
just
instantly
snapped,
prison
and he
bitch.
thought, yeah, and he probably thought
So he
maybe
was-
I can get some attention for myself by just
So he was already
cocking
screwed
someone.
up all the way back then. Like, he was
Yeah.
nothing but
Yeah.
a kid when his life got turned upside. What is this with
Now-
kids?
But he had an obsession with guns
Yeah.
and the Bible. And I don't
Hmm.
know why his obsession, his interest peaked for the Zodiac Killer. No one knows.
But if it probably because the Zodiac Killer never get caught, so perhaps he thought if he could do the same and pull it off, and then boast about it later on while he's gone
crazy.
into hiding
Yeah.
It's
somewhere.
really crazy.
But the thing is, he was supposedly a religious man, argued with his sister for hanging around with disputable types, and he also despised drug dealers. So the funny thing is,
Talk about the pot calling the kettle
he
black.
hang around people who had these probably other obsessions with guns and probably gangs. But it was kind of weird how he hated drug dealers. Like, what's the point behind that? Why are you
Yeah.
gonna hate on a particular thing, but yet go and kill innocent people? Wouldn't you have gone after the drug dealers and made them an example of the Zodiac Killer then? That would definitely throw
There's something I want to
Well-
say on that, but I'll save it for another time. And right now, we're going to
Unfortunately,
introduce
we
our-
started running out
Yeah.
of time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
No,
we're
we
running
are
out of
running
time, so we're going to
Looking at- I don't
introduce.
either.
I do apologize.
We're going to introduce our two
Who?
lovely colleagues, Ren and Ion,
Hello,
with this
the man
story
y'all
on.
boys.
What are you guys talking about again?
vampire
We are-
cults.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how far back
I want to
actual
siphon your
vampire
gas.
cults go.
Okay, shush.
I'll
The
kick
grown
you
ups.
trash.
Well, one grown up and a child is talking.
Pinky.
Love you too.
Wait, who's the child?
Oh,
But
is
sometimes
that why you
you
use crayon?
Anyways,
Said
continue,
you were a
Ren.
puppy. So it's actually funny how far a lot of actual like large scale vampire cults go back, and how prevalent they are. Like they're especially in like modern history and stuff like that, with the advent or some of the writings of like Anne Rice, a lot of the big movies coming out that have literally just struck the imagination of so many different people, and there for a while it was just a flood of nothing but vampire movies and literature and stuff like that. But even before that huge vampire rush, they had some very prolific like large scale vampire cults, and these were people who would actually believe that they were vampires. Like they'd go through these rituals, and in fact even to initiate you actually had to go through some very graphic rituals, always of course involving drinking of blood. In fact, there was this one that happened back in I think it was the 80s, as far as back as that was a vampire cult, and the head of this vampire cult would routinely drink blood from his girlfriend. And there was been vampire cults where they were a lot of these were called, a lot of them actually were never actually caught, but they would bring victims in, they would kill them, and then the entire cult would drink the body dry.
By the way, it was
Jeez.
Rod Farwell. That was his
Yeah.
name, and the Monoscoel was the actual
Mhm.
cult's name.
Yes. And that was a creepy case, because I think was that one that I think it was one of the new initiates wanted to basically kill her parents, was madly
Yes.
in love with the cult leader, and well, the thing is I think he was 16 at the time, she was 32,
I believe it was actually backwards. She was 17 and he was 32 during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still like the darkest cult they've had in the longest time. Plus, it was one of the largest ones that had the most members in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, there was a total of, and this is completely off the top of my head, everyone. I was thinking, God, it was like 300, 400 people.
Yeah,
Because it was a pretty large group.
Yeah, you had it was a very large group. Then you had that small core group, that they would pull in, and I guess what they say would initiate him to full vampirehood, like they'd go through the blood rituals and everything. And
the amount of bloodshed that went through that actual cult was very dark.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about goat's blood, pig blood, or anything. We're talking about real human blood. Not that props stuff you get from Party Store. And that's what made it the most eeriest.
Wasn't it even a thing with the cult? Like if you were a lower level to, prove your worth to the cult before you actually became full vampire herd, like part of it was making offerings of blood to the actual full members.
Yes, there was
so that they could actually drink of your blood.
Yes, there was actually a ritual, and from reading in other Bibles and other religious stuff, I'm not part of any, but there was actually a ritual within the vampiric Bible where you would actually have to cut open your hand on one of your slits, squeeze your hand as hard as you can, and try to fill up a glass. Someone from higher rank had to drink it.
Fresh from the tap.
Fresh from the tap.
Oh dear. Throwing up. I know if you get a lot of blood in your stomach, it will like make you throw up. So that's
in some cases, but actually blood doesn't taste that bad. It's irony, but it's not.
Well, the thing is that it's dependent on the person and their health.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest keys that they look for within the cults is like, you've got to be healthy, you've got to live a certain lifestyle, and you've got to be proactive within the community or the cult to where you can reach a certain limit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not very inclusive.
Unfortunately, well, it's still inclusive, but it's hard to get into.
Wait, what do you mean still inclusive?
I think what he's meant to say that it's probably still active to this day.
Yeah,
there's lots of vampire cults out there all over the world.
Oh no!
And
there's one here in Florida.
Very, very shady stuff. Mm-hmm.
What's not?
Okay, remind me to call Van Helsing and get a fresh order of steaks and hammers.
There's a cult, a vampire cult in Florida, but I didn't think vampires like the sun. Is it not always sunny in Florida?
Okay, motherfucker. We ain't going that far. We're not going to turn into either Edward from Twilight. We're not going to turn into Edward from Twilight or instantly turn into a pound of dust.
Sunblock.
He didn't.
So do
he
any
turned
of these
into
cults...
sunshine.
He was
he turned into a gay vampire. He became glittery.
Okay.
Hey.
It's time to die.
I like him.
You're a girl, though. That makes sense.
I like the wolf better.
Well, I mean, who doesn't?
You are dating a wolf.
Not that wolf. You're not a wolf. You're a bear.
I'm a bear.
Shut up.
But
fish
anyway,
stick.
back to our thing is that yes, there is still a lot of those cults in the world. And I've heard of one other cult. It's actually over in Ireland. And they are some gruesome motherfuckers.
It's not vampiric.
Excuse my French.
That's actually one of the longer running
Excuse my
cults,
French,
too.
but these that's actually one of the longer running. But they are more sick and twisted than over here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just got the thought of vampiric. I just don't know where that came from. Sorry.
Control your school partner.
We're gonna get cancelled.
Okay.
Sorry, shut him up.
But is there anything you'd like to put into
How
this
about you
subject
than me?
before we have to?
Well, it's just kind of funny too, especially with a lot of the vampire movies coming out, how many people actually join these cults just because of seeing the movie and falling in love with that whole genre. I mean, anyone who's read Anne Rice, of course, or even, I hate to say it, even though they're not vampires, the Twilight series and stuff like that, the movie series, stuff like that. Even though, I mean, when you think about it, these are murderers, feeding off the flesh of others, but people fall in love with that illusion of, I don't know if it's because of this eternal youth never having to die or anything like that, not or being above human, but it's the allure.
If I may ask.
Yes, honey.
Sorry. I know the whole series gained like a cult following, but I will say Buffy the Vampire Slayer didn't help, and that was long before everything else came along.
Was another one. That was another one.
Yeah, that was another one. Now, I do want to point out one thing. I want to point out one thing. Emos are not vampires. They can wear all that fake shit. They can wear the trench coats all they want, but they are not vampires. They are just depressed kids who need help.
Or blood.
And like anime.
And anime.
No,
and yes, I'm pointing you out
Yeah.
in this, Anubis. But anyways.
Hey!
Ah,
I am not an emo.
witch.
How dare you?
He's a witch.
Same thing.
I think you actually offended him.
So I'm an emo too because I'm coming out as a witch. Thank you.
3, 2, 1, fight!
She's coming out!
Finish
My
him.
witch.
Get him, fish stick. Oh, my hand died!
So, question though. You talk about
Yes.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, do you mean the TV series starring
Yes,
Sarah
yes.
Michelle Gellar?
Yes.
Or do you
Yes.
mean the original movie?
Let me hear that.
No, the series.
She's
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the series.
That was a very long run series, and there were spin-off like Angel, which is one I really got caught into.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, who didn't have a crush on Sarah?
I ain't shaking you off.
So
Don't
big
blame
question.
all on the Collins. Don't blame it all on the Collins.
But
It's a quick
another
question.
thing I would like to point out is that a lot of people do go into these groups, into these cults, and about a month down the line, they're like, "Yeah, we don't want a part of this."
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is a lot of people
Just
going
don't
to these
drink the
cults
punch.
actually, when they
Kool-Aid.
actually become full members, literally do believe that they are
What's the
not
difference?
human. Like
Yes,
they
that
actually
is true,
believe that
but
they
don't
are
drink the
something
wine.
more.
Yes, but with going back to what I was saying is that
Mhm.
whenever they do leave, they lose a lot of things on that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen someone here. I'm not going to put out names. I'm not going to put anything out there. I've known people who have been in part of these cults and religious groups, and I've seen them literally have everything they wanted in their life within that stuff. And as soon as they left, all gone. Not a single thing left.
But if you wanted to leave them, weren't there like punishments for that?
Yes, there was.
Because you kind of knew the
Sometimes they're
innocent.
rival.
Yes, there is liching, there is physical abuse, there's mental abuse, there's broken property, things like that. But most of the times you see today is either stolen property, broken property, or things go missing.
Sometimes people.
But
Okay.
rarely.
Yeah.
Eh,
Well, back then
Depends on what part of the
probably
world.
more than today.
Oh yeah,
Probably a
back
lot
back
more
in like
than-
the
yeah.
60s and 70s, back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of people did go missing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're more of a modern age kind of society, a lot of people have cell phones on them. A lot of people have trackers on them. And as soon as you see that someone's posted something weird on either Twitter or Facebook or something, you know instantly something's wrong.
As somebody said with big cults, don't drink the Kool-Aid. And I know a lot of people out there know
Yes,
what
it
we're
is
talking
tasty.
about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna
If it's
make you
red,
not wake
that's
up
a
ever
no-no.
again.
If it's red, it's a no-no. If it's blue, you're probably in the Matrix.
Well, knowing you,
That's
Ian, it'll
good.
just be a bowl of melted crayon wax.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. You all know what we're talking about.
Drink Lone Paw coffee instead.
God, you shameless.
But did you just
plug.
hear? Did you just hear what we mentioned? Today's theme was basically kids screwing up or former kids as well. I mean, they are easy
mentally
to
deranged.
manipulate. That
Mhm.
too.
Or mentally
You know what?
deranged and
That
grown
too.
adults.
Yes.
Another thing too, especially with the vampire cults, it was a lot of people just looking for a place. Like a lot of people who joined like the cults were misfits that didn't fit in anywhere else, and were welcomed in and found a place simply because they didn't fit or weren't accepted for who they were anywhere else.
Yep.
So once you give them that little pinch
Message
of
for the parents: keep a
acceptance-
closer eye on your crotch goblins.
Exactly.
Well, you could say that in the Slenderman case too. The parents has no idea. They had a perfectly normal sleepover.
Yeah.
4 girls having fun, telling stories, look at the internet and everything else. The next day, they want to go to the park. No indications of what's going to happen. The parents were watching them and everything. But apparently when they got hold of a knife or something and a girl ended up being stabbed 19 times, you mean, what did you miss? You can easily lose a
thing is
child
that-
no matter which way you do it.
Yeah, but
And like
Yeah, but
stuff like that
nowadays,
happened in modern
Toki, is
times
like
with
the
cell
Slender
phones
Man
and everything
case.
else. You know?
exactly, kids are literally on their devices all the time. They're in their rooms behind closed doors, looking at God knows what on personal devices.
Yes, but
That's why
if
parents
you
need to
are
be
an
much more
adult,
clever.
exactly.
Yep.
But if you are an adult or a child and you look up Slenderman, who in their right mind would think, "Oh my God, my 6-year-old saw this, so he's going to go out and murder something in the forest"? It could be an animal he caught. I
The
mean,
best thing is, though, is that websites like that are registered as 18-plus websites because of horror, gore, so on.
well,
Parents need to put
unfortunately,
internet blockers
YouTube
on.
are too, but they still find a way.
Problem is, yeah, parents need to put internet blockers on, but the problem is with a lot of parents is they are not computer savvy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That is true.
they don't know how to do it. They don't know what to do that. They just have, and there is also an element, you have to have an element of trust with your child. So,
That's a big part.
you know, yes, putting an internet blocker on, yeah, it's going to be issue, but if you don't know how to do those kind of things, I just strongly suggest, as a parent, just get more involved, and you know, have a setup where there is a no secrets thing where, you know, if they don't let you have the passcode to their phone, their device, or whatever, then so you can get in and have a look at things, they don't have it. That's one of the rules that we kind of had in our house. Everybody has access to everybody's device.
Yeah. Well, it's like even here
Yeah,
in some
'cause-
of the metaverses that we have here, I hate to say it, they, you know, a lot of parents, you know, that don't want to take that active role, will literally give their child access to stuff just to placate them or as a nanny, so they don't have to, you know, be
It's a pacifier, isn't
big
it?
part. Yeah, it really is.
Basically.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like, oh, I can't
okay,
be bothered
before
with
we
it.
got-
Here's an iPad.
Okay. Before we go
I
any
think we-
further,
Yes, I know Rossi has a special message that he want to bring to you guys. So, Rossi?
Yeah, basically, I just wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine who's recently had a motorcycle accident. He's okay. He's a bit battered and bruised, but his bike's possibly a write-off. He's also a YouTuber, furry, Stormus the Furry Biker. So go check him out. He's does some good videos. He does some quite nice sort of like explanation videos and things like that, safety tips and things like that. So, but yeah, go check him out. Shout out to him. Hope you get better soon, buddy. Nice.
Is that how you learn your road safety for your motorbike so you don't go flying anymore?
For they
Have
answer
you
that
avoided
question,
any tests?
everything will be in the link in the description below, also to his page. Now, Rossi's gonna be the censor again. Oh, wise Rossi, please
What
share
Give
your
us
words
thine
of
wisdom.
wisdom.
Well,
I'll
this
pull
is
your
going to
heads
be
out.
this. This one's a
Shut
recycled
up.
one because Ren forgot to put it in the last video.
Yes.
Oof.
Oh dear.
Life,
Told you it's getting old.
life is not a fairy tale. You lose a shoe at midnight, you're drunk.
Not wrong.
Nope, I'm done.
He
Nope, I'm going back to the
actually
building. Y'all can have your fancy
true.
haunting stuff.
To be honest, if it was me,
I'm
I'll
not wrong.
probably lose more than that.
Kinky.
No, not that! God damn it. A purse, a phone, money. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching our show. We couldn't do this without our potato chips. Please like, share, subscribe. Everything will be in the description below. Support us on our Patreon. Also, check out our Instagram. We do also have TikTok, and of course, we have Discord. And before we officially say thank you all, I think Ren has a little info about Halloween.
Yeah, so spooky season is here. Last year we actually did a really awesome event. There was a live event where we had a maze that people pay $1, they'd go through, get the heck scared out of them. It was a lot of fun. It was well received. We're going to be doing another one this year. All the proceeds, of course, will be going to charities, which we actually are going to be getting a lot more active in charity events from now on. In fact, we're going to actually be shifting our primary efforts to actually charities and helping people and animals in need. So please consider coming to our haunted maze, also donating to our Patreon, because donating to our Patreon is that money will actually be used towards charities and other events. But yes, check out our maze. We're going to have a really fun one. There is no automated jump scares. All the jump scares, like the last season, are going to be actual people. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Check it out, and we will keep you posted.
And to round it off, to all potato chips out there, take care, be safe, lots of love. Bye!
Bye!
Poodle in the pit.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that like button. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, when everything will be down in the description. Thank you. Tatty bye.
Would that work?
Okay, there we go.
Complicated?
let's
That works.
let's shoot.
Whenever you're ready.
Camera's hot.
You need to go in there.
Right. Why me?
I still think this is a bad idea.
Because you're all
Just
this.
go in there.
Okay.
Yeah, you've
Go in,
lived
you
the
chicken.
longest.
Run!
Wait. Why is he running?
Eh?
What the?
What?
I don't see anything.
Just leg boy.
Blooper of the one.
What the hell?
Blooper of the week.
It's just in the middle of everything. Jesus
I
Christ.
think we have
Okay, everybody.
There you go.
Everyone, one of the straps broke.
video.
Mm-hmm.
One of the straps broke. Hold on.
We stop.
Yeah, restart.
Twisted
All right.
wires.
Take two.